Here, even though I don't believe it applies, you're waiving any rights notice or public discussion rights that
Yes.
you may have.
My name is Liza Viana. I am apparently the previous township administrator of Berkeley Heights. In the past 45 minutes or so, I've had two key points hammered home for me. God works in mysterious ways, and if someone can't look you in the eye, be suspicious. And if people up here truly put Berkeley Heights first, they would have been uniform in their reappointment of me, because that is the antithesis of what just happened here. I am shocked and disappointed in the people up here who I consider colleagues, that they couldn't give me the common courtesy to discuss with me any concerns that they have had. For 4 years, I have worked morning, noon, and night toiling for this town at great personal cost. Never once has anyone up here discussed with me a concern that they have had or about the job I was doing. Therefore, the only conclusion is that this is political. I'm sorry, but the people will suffer are going to be the residents and the employees. I say God works in mysterious ways because I drafted this email to send to Mayor Devaney after this meeting just last night, not asking for more money, because I was going to give other employees raises instead of myself because they work so hard. But for a couple days off, more days off a year, it seemed fitting since I seem to work on almost every vacation day anyway. Mayor, as I head into my second 4-year term as township administrator, we can delete that. I wanted to highlight the various accomplishments and initiatives I have led and the job responsibilities I have taken on, despite them not formally being part of my job description. I have engaged in these activities to serve our residents the best possible way I can, to increase resident-facing services, increase efficiencies, attain or grant money for the township, so all infrastructure and other improvements, as well as increases in programming, are not paid for entirely by our hardworking taxpayers. I've increased communications and otherwise helped give our residents the type of local government they deserve in the 21st century. This list is not all encompassing, but I've tried to include the major tasks and initiatives I've taken on and the successes that we have had as a township in the past 4 years. I have helped apply for more than $45 million in grants for this town, for infrastructure, first responder equipment, trees, our aging sewer plant, senior programming, recreation, arts programming, and more on weekends, holidays, and evenings. I continuously work with our grants committee volunteers on identifying and applying for grants. I also work with our grant writing firm on certain applications. This has included applying for state and federal appropriations, communicating with state and federal lawmakers' offices on guidance for funding, working with various federal and state agencies on grant program execution, and more. I've elevated township communications to never before achieved levels, with residents now able to access news and information via our website. Thank you to the communications committee, by the way, for the work they've done on that. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, as well as increasing township news in our local tap into. I helped navigate the COVID-19 global health pandemic, staying connected with local businesses and offering them resources available during the health emergency, keeping residents updated through multiple channels, organizing a vaccination program with volunteers to ensure our town's seniors, veterans, and other vulnerable residents got their life-saving vaccines. We vaccinated over 800 of the most vulnerable residents through this program. I also helped organize mass delivery to those vulnerable. When COVID hit, I ensured all those employees who needed them had laptops so they could work from home, staggering employees in the office to reduce the chance of mass virus transmission through our local government, to ensure operations kept running for our residents. We instituted various technology platforms so that we could always communicate. We worked with our sewer and DPW department heads to ensure staggered schedules and work activities to prevent COVID from spreading through entire departments. This included the DPW eating lunch in their car, which I still think that they continue today. Joe? Yes. We spearheaded a difficult change in leadership in our building department, which for years earned a reputation for being the single worst department to deal with in our local government. I'm going to leave the rest there because that's not necessarily for public consumption. In a nutshell, and I think our new construction official was out in the hallway earlier, this department has now seen a 180-degree turn with 0 complaints received by my office from residents since this change in leadership. In the first 3 months of my work here, we navigated a potential ticking time bomb with our DPW. We inherited an investigation with absolutely no notice from the previous administration, with workers suspended and a department in turmoil. We navigated this potentially explosive legal situation, working with those involved to create an acceptable settlement. We put into place a leadership structure at the department, which under the leadership of Joe Graziano, since then has turned the department around to be one of our best performing departments. We instituted an appropriate COA fee notification and collection system through our building department and tax assessor's office because the township was not abiding by our state mandated affordable housing settlement and ordinance, years of inconsistent application and no advance notice to affected residents of the fee system. I spearheaded the drafting and passage of an end user sewer agreement ordinance to ensure that all developers in adjacent towns that send sewer flow to our town pay for the appropriate studies and systems upgrade to our sewer system. Just because the township is obligated by the DEP to accept flow from other towns does not mean we should bear the financial burden of the infrastructure pressure. I oversaw the construction of the new municipal complex, coordinated with the various hired professionals to push the project forward, dealt directly with pertinent state agencies to push forward the safe demolition of our asbestos-laden old building when our hired contractors could not get the job done. I coordinated with various contractors on punch list activities with stakeholders, and I continue to serve as the township representative during the ongoing construction problems and claims process. This was never supposed to be the responsibility of a township employee, but someone had to step up and be the day-to-day person. I've had to serve as the township CFO twice in the absence of a licensed CFO. I am currently taking the lead on running many aspects of the finance office in the absence of a full-time CFO, dealing more with departments on budget issues, tracking capital expenditures, and remaining money for various department needs, directing our finance team on where to find necessary funds for much-needed equipment and resources for our departments and our first responders. I act as a technology lead in town hall, not only for certain departments, but for boards, committees, and commissions, as well as outside groups using the town hall facilities. I changed the hiring practices in our township for main town hall staff. We now attempt to hire employees part-time on a trial basis to make sure they enjoy the work, they get along with our colleagues, and they interface in a positive fashion with our residents. We are in the customer service business. I want to make sure that every employee who is hired espouses that. To save money, instead of hiring more people to take on additional duties, which they do in many other towns, we pay existing employees more to take on additional tasks if they have the bandwidth. This also helps bring up the pay of our employees, who are among the lowest paid in Union County. I have instituted various workplace initiatives to increase workplace satisfaction for employees, which is vitally important given that their pay scale is so low for Union County and surrounding counties. And perhaps more importantly, I at least like to think that I have cultivated a workplace of respect, of appreciation for others, of every employee from the sewer plant to the administration office. I am sickened over this, that not one person up here had the courtesy to have an advanced conversation with me about their concerns. I have worked with every single one of you up here on your projects, on your initiatives. I'm not going to ask for my job back, but if you really want to do what's best for Berkeley Heights, I sincerely hope that you have a serious conversation with yourselves about why you decided this. And I am going to ask for the reasoning behind this because I think I'm owed that. Thank you.